Today is Saturday, August 15th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today out of the Big Book, we are on More About Alcoholism. We'll be reading page 34. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 5. We'll read page 57. And of course, read NA's Just for Today and Al-Anon's Courage to Change. So with that, hope y'all are doing well this beautiful Saturday morning, my friends. Life is good over here. I got a giant cup of coffee in hand and my Marvel cup here. And also, I'm super excited to share, we finally got a phone call. I was asking you shall receive, right? I was hoping to get a phone call a couple episodes ago, and somebody called in. Tom from the UK. I am so excited to share his voicemail, and I'll go ahead and spoil it right now. Tom, as of August 11th, when he called in originally, I believe it was August 11th, maybe August 12th, is celebrating 22 years of sobriety. So I cannot wait to share his voicemail and his experience, strength, and hope at the end of the episode, so stay tuned for that. But first, my friends, let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. Out of the Big Book, we're on More About Alcoholism. We will be reading page 34 today. As we look back, we feel that we've gone on drinking many years beyond the point where we could quit on our own willpower. If anyone questions whether he has entered this dangerous area, let him try leaving liquor alone for a year. If he is a real alcoholic and very far advanced, there's a scant chance of success. In the early days of our drinking, we occasionally remained sober for a year or more, becoming serious drinkers again later. Though you may be able to stop for a considerable period, you may yet be a potential alcoholic. We think few to whom this book will appeal can stay dry anything like a year. Some will be drunk the day after making their resolutions, most of them within a few weeks. For those who are unable to drink moderately, the question is how to stop altogether. We are assuming, of course, that the reader desires to stop. Whether such a person can quit upon a non-spiritual basis depends upon the extent to which he's already lost the power to choose whether he will drink or not. Many of us felt that we had plenty of character. There was a tremendous urge to cease forever. Yet we found it impossible. This is the baffling feature of alcoholism as we know it. This utter inability to leave it alone, no matter how great the necessity or wish. How then shall we help our readers determine to our own satisfaction whether they are one of us? The experiment of quitting for a period of time will be helpful. But we think we can render an even greater service to alcoholic sufferers and perhaps to the medical fraternity. So we shall describe some of the mental states that precede a relapse into drinking. For obviously, this is the crux of the problem. And we will get to those mental states tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Out of the 12 and 12, we're on Step 5. Admit it to God, to ourselves, and to another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. And yesterday we talked about the importance of talking to somebody who's understanding and trustworthy about these defects. And then it seems plain that the grace of God will not enter to expel our destructive obsessions until we're willing to try Step 5. So we're going to build on that on page 57. What are we likely to receive from Step 5? For one thing, we shall get rid of that terrible sense of isolation we've always had. Almost without exception, alcoholics are tortured by loneliness. Even before our drinking got bad and people began to cut us off, nearly all of us suffered the feeling that we didn't quite belong. Either we were shy and dared not draw near others, or we were apt to be noisy goodfellows, craving attention and companionship, but never getting it, at least to our way of thinking. There was always that mysterious barrier that we could neither surmount nor understand. It was as if we were actors on a stage, suddenly realizing that we did not know a single line of our parts. That's one reason we loved alcohol too well. It did let us act extemporaneously, but even back has boomeranged on us. We were finally struck down and left in terrified loneliness. When we reached AA and for the first time in our lives stood among people who seemed to understand, the sense of belonging was tremendously exciting. We thought that the isolation problem had been solved. But we soon discovered that while we weren't alone anymore in a social sense, we still suffered many of the old pangs of anxious apartness. Until we had talked with complete candor of our conflicts and had listened to someone else do the same thing, we still didn't belong. Step 5 was the answer. It was the beginning of true kinship with man and God. This vital step was also the means by which we began to get the feeling that we could be forgiven, no matter what we had thought or done. Often it was while working on this step with our sponsors or spiritual advisors that we first felt truly able to forgive others, no matter how deeply we felt they had wronged us. Our moral inventory had persuaded us that all-around forgiveness was desirable, but it was only when we resolutely tackled step 5 that we inwardly knew that we'd be able to receive forgiveness and give it too. NA's just for today, August 15th. Over time, not overnight. We've found that we do not recover physically, mentally, or spiritually overnight. Basic text, page 28. Have you ever approached a recovery celebration with the feeling that you should be further along in your recovery than you are? Maybe you've listened to newcomers sharing in meetings, members with much less clean time and thought, but I'm just barely beginning to understand what they're talking about. It's odd that we should come into recovery thinking that we will feel wonderful right away and no longer have any difficulty handling life's twists and turns. We expect our physical problems to correct themselves, our thinking to become rational, and a fully developed spiritual life to manifest itself overnight. We forget that we have spent years abusing our bodies, numbing our minds, and suppressing our awareness of a higher power. We cannot undo the damage in a day. We can, however, apply the next step, go to the next meeting, help the next newcomer. We heal and recover bit by bit, not overnight, but over time. Just for today, my body will heal a little, my mind will become a little clearer, and my relationship with my higher power will strengthen. Al-Anon's Courage to Change, August 15th. After living in the chaos of an alcoholic relationship, it can be hard to know the difference between a minor inconvenience and a major crisis. Al-Anon's slogan, "How important is it?" helps many of us to regain some sense of proportion. When plans fall through, when unexpected bills arrive, when I am disappointed in someone's response, I can ask myself, how important is it? Most of the time, I find that what I might have viewed as a disaster is really insignificant. If I try to keep my attention on this day, instead of worrying about possible future consequences, I can take my disappointment or irritation at face value and refuse to dramatize it. Because of the simple slogan, many days that I once would have seen as tragic are now filled with serenity and confidence. Today's reminder: today, if I encounter an upsetting situation, I will ask myself, how important is it, before I react? I may find that it is not important enough to sacrifice my serenity. It is almost as important to know what is not serious as to know what is. Quote from John Kenneth Galbraith. All right, my friends, that concludes today's reading. And man, do I love that Al-Anon reading today. Thinking to myself, is this really worth getting upset about? Is this that important? A lot of times I catch myself stressing about the little things. And I'm like, wait a minute. In a week from now, is this going to be something that is important? Is this going to be something that I'm thinking about? Is this really going to matter? And a lot of the times the answer is no. And I'm like, so why am I stressing about it right now? And also for me, matter of perspective too. I can look throughout my day and about 50 to 100 or whatever, obviously countless good things have happened throughout the day. But those few negative, man, I will give those so much power to overshadow all the positive. So I kind of have to rely on my discipline to just focus on the good things. And thank God for the challenges, because good things can come from those too. Valuable lessons learned, And then real quick, out of the 12 and 12, do I love, at the bottom of page 57, when we reached AA and for the first time in our lives, stood among people who seemed to understand. Oh, actually a little further up there. Even before our drinking got bad and people began to cut us off, nearly all of us suffered the feeling that we didn't quite belong. I've been there. Has anyone else been there? Where we just felt like something's not quite right with us? I kind of wonder if every human being feels that, and some are just more honest about it than others. But who knows? That's just robology. But going a little further down, when we reached AA and for the first time in our lives stood among people who seemed to understand, the sense of belonging was tremendously exciting. Yeah, absolutely. The fellowship's wonderful. We finally meet people that are very similar in a lot of ways to the way we think. And that's a wonderful thing. But I know in my experience, I can back up kind of what this reading is saying. We thought that the isolation problem had been solved, but soon we discovered that while we weren't alone anymore in a social sense, we still suffered the old pangs of anxious apartness. I know for me, I still, after a while, felt like something's still not right. Like I've said many, many times, I do not recommend this. I waited a very long time to do the steps. I didn't quite understand them, and I didn't get a sponsor right away, and I lived on the pink cloud for quite some time at the fellowship, and the fellowship's wonderful, but it's only half of the benefits. The other half for me has been working the steps, and I'll never forget when I worked steps 4 and 5, and I had to get rigorously honest, and then humbly admit these things to somebody I trusted. And then when it was over, I remember feeling like, holy cow, I'm not alone anymore. I'm not that different from anybody else. And I've been telling myself this for so stinking long. I wholeheartedly agree with the reading that it's truly, I think it said at the very end of our reading today, let me see. Yeah, it was the beginning of true kinship with man and God. And then a little further on, we were able to forgive others, no matter how deeply we felt that they had wronged us. And I was able to forgive myself. Beautiful stuff. And speaking of beautiful stuff, my friends, we're about to get to Tom's phone call. First, I don't speak on behalf of AA, NA, Al-Anon, any other sect or denomination. I'm just a joyful drunk in this lifeboat of recovery. Honored to be here another day, and so honored to play this voicemail from Tom. As I said, Tom is celebrating 22 years of sobriety in the UK as of, I believe it was August 11th or 12th. I apologize, Tom, if I get your date wrong there. But 22 years. Congratulations, man. Thank you so much for the reminder of the miracle of sobriety. And you give me a lot of hope, my friend. Oh, and I love what he said, that no matter where or what time of day, there's a meeting somewhere where the Serenity Prayer is being prayed. Isn't that something? We're in this together. So with that, my friends, I'm going to leave on the note of Tom's voicemail. Hope you all have a great one. And if we're given another set of 24 hours, I sincerely look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow.
Hey, Rob. My name's Tom. I'm an alcoholic calling from the UK, currently up in Liverpool, working up in Liverpool, and just about to head to bed. But when I wake up tomorrow, I will be 22 years sober. I got sober on the 11th of August, 2004. I love listening to your podcast. It's become part of my daily routine. I try and listen to it every morning if I can, or sometimes at lunchtime. But yeah, it's become just a really great way to start my day, just to tune in and hear a little bit of the Big Book, and I really value hearing your experience, strength and hope. Yeah, it's one of the things that I just love about recovery is that sense of a group of drunks, and that being a version of God that the more I've been around, the more profound that's felt. That anywhere, at any time, on the hour, every hour, somewhere in the world, there's a group of us saying the Serenity Prayer. And yeah, knowing we are connected through this amazing program all over the world is so special. But I love listening to your podcast, and thank you very much.